Hey everybody, and welcome to Bridge from the Past. I'm your host, Mary, and this series is all about using primary source images as a starting point to think about important topics in American history and civics. This fall, we've been thinking about the relationship between law and liberty. And once again, for our image today, we're going back inside the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. In 1817, Congress commissioned 4 life-size paintings about the American Revolution. John Trumbull, the artist, depicted George Washington resigning or leaving his post as the leader of the Continental Army as one of these images. Why was this resignation so important, and how does it connect to law and liberty? Let's jump in and see. Here is our image. So the artist is John Trumbull, and the painting is entitled General George Washington Resigning His Commission. The painting was completed in 1826. Again, it was requested by the U.S. Congress, and it hangs in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, and it's life size, so it's 12 by 18 feet. So it's a really big picture hanging inside the U.S. Capitol building, and we're thinking, what does this painting, this act of George Washington resigning his commission, have to do with law and liberty? Whenever you have a primary source image, it's important to just make some observations before you do anything else. If you're using your handout, go ahead and pause here and write down some of your observations. Here are some things that I notice. First and foremost, my eye is drawn to General George Washington. He's right in the middle of the painting, and there's this really cool light that's sort of coming down from both sides and centering on him. So he's right in the middle of the action. It looks like everybody's looking at him in this crowded room. There's all these people, some of them seated, some of them standing. There's even people up here in a gallery. All eyes are on Washington. The light is on Washington. He's holding some sort of paper that he appears to be giving to these seated men. And he's dressed in a military uniform. He has his sword in its sheath by his side, and his uniform makes him stand out. There's a couple other guys here in the military uniform, but most of these people aren't dressed as a member of the military. And they're not on a battlefield, right? This is a room somewhere. Most of these guys over here are seated, and it looks like there's a big chair here behind Washington with some sort of cloak on it. So it seems like a big deal that Washington is resigning his commission, but I need a little bit more context before I can really jump into my analysis. So the first thing we have to know about this painting is that this depicts a very specific moment. This is on December 23rd in 1783. And George Washington is in fact handing in his slip saying, I don't want to do this anymore. He has led the Continental Army since 1776, and the war with Britain is over. The American colonies are now a new nation, and George Washington, as leader of the army, is quitting. And nobody can believe it. So I think that's one of the interesting things about this painting is that everybody looks fairly calm. This guy kind of has his hand on his face like, but this moment was unprecedented in world history. Washington had all this military power. He had this glory. He was revered, and he's walking away from power. Huge moment, right? Julius Caesar couldn't do it. Oliver Cromwell couldn't do it. Napoleon Bonaparte couldn't do it. Everyone was expecting him to stay in power. And this chair right here, it's bigger than the other chairs these guys are sitting on. It's almost like a throne, and it has this cloak over it. Washington doesn't want it. He doesn't want that paper. He just wants to go home. And that is what this moment in time is. And when John Trumbull suggested this painting to President James Madison at the time, again, this is in 1817, he considered Washington's resignation to be, quote, one of the highest moral lessons ever given to the world. We're in a civilian legislature, right? And Washington is handing power back to the people. These are the people represented, elected by the people. They have the power, not Washington, not the military. The law is supreme. But we started by asking what Trumbull's painting could tell us about the rule of law. And we learned that the rule of law is this idea that no man, no woman, no position is above the law. George Washington famously gave up power at the end of the Revolutionary War, establishing a precedent of the power of the civilian authority over the military. And he ensured that this principle of the rule of law was not just an empty promise. He acted on it, and the world was shocked. But as always, there's so much more to this story. So now I turn it over to you. What questions did this raise for you? What do you want to know more about? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below. If you learned something, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to be in the know about other resources, tools, videos, contests to help you through the school year. I'll be back soon with another image to help us think about the ideas of law and liberty. And until then, everybody, whenever you see an image, keep asking questions. Take care, everyone.
So, did you learn something new?
Do you know the Bill of Rights Institute has many more videos on American history, government, and civics? From primary source document breakdowns to historical image analysis, whether you're preparing for a test or just interested in learning more, they've got you covered.
And bonus, on trivia night, everyone will want you on their team.
Check out this video here.
And be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on a new video.